Welcome to Hotline TV, everybody. I'm John Mercurio.
And I'm Quinn McCord. You know, John, I was jogging in Rock Creek Park yesterday.
You don't jog, Quinn. You don't ever jog. You don't jog.
Well, I was passing through Rock Creek Park yesterday, and I ran into Hillary and Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton kind of stayed silent.
Really?
Which I felt was so unlike him. He did flash me the thumbs up, though.
No, Quinn. You didn't see the Clintons yesterday in Rock Creek Park. You saw that on television.
All right, you're right. But you have to admit that Bill's been pretty tight-lipped lately. John, do you foresee Bill ever finding his voice again?
Well done. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome Quinn McCord to the show today as a guest host. Do I foresee him finding his voice? He does lose his voice frequently. You know, he's when he's on the campaign trail, he goes hoarse, goes quiet. I think he will. It'll be sometime around January 21st, 2009, if his wife wins the nomination and the election, or shortly before that if she is forced to drop out or loses. But clearly what we've seen is that as soon as he became a big part of Hillary Clinton's campaign, she started to stumble. She stumbled throughout the month of February after South Carolina, which was probably the worst moment of the campaign for them, specifically because of his role, and then continuing through Super Tuesday. He was relatively quiet. He was on the campaign trail in Texas, a little bit in Ohio, but he was in smaller events, smaller rallies, a much smaller press pool following him around, and he was really toning himself down. At the same time, you saw the campaign trying to ramp up her commander-in-chief persona, this idea that she was ready to be president on day one. And I think in conjunction, those two things really set the stage for her to stage this comeback that she did. And I think they recognized the benefits of that. I think the scenario you're referring to in Rock Creek Park yesterday was just sort of a coincidence. But I don't think you'll see, although he is campaigning in Wyoming, anywhere near the level of intensity, at least publicly, for him for the rest of this campaign, because they recognize they learned the lesson that Democrats like them apart together. They remind both Democrats and Republicans, I think, of some of the problems of the 90s.
But speaking of Wyoming, I also found it interesting that he'll be appearing with Chelsea Clinton at one of those events, and I think that's a great idea. They should do a lot more joint appearances, because think about it, parents will often not say things in front of their kids that they might say other places, and I think that's a great plan to keep Bill kind of restrained. You know, he's not going to say anything too nasty or negative, perhaps. Also, I'm sure Chelsea is able to tell her dad things that no one else can probably get away with. I could see her being a great sounding board after each event together. She could say, "Hey, Dad, you made some great points here. Maybe you better tone this back a bit."
Interesting.
So if I was in charge of the campaign, I would keep those two together as much as I could.
Fascinating, fascinating. John McCain, of course, took a little victory lap yesterday of his own with his own little political partner in crime, George Bush, at the White House. The two of them, I think, in the same sense, or McCain, already the nominee, Clinton's not the nominee, but McCain clearly, weighing or trying to figure out exactly how high profile a role he wants Bush to play in his race, in actually in a very similar way to what we're seeing with the Clintons, I think.
Well, and probably there's not much to weigh, because even in the best of times, the party's new nominee doesn't want the sitting president to hover too much around. So I think there's much calculation going on there. But that just about does it for today's show. I'm Quinn McCord.
You took my line, but that's okay. That's all right. It's good. It's good. I'm glad you're here.
And you're John Mercurio.
We'll see you right back here tomorrow on Hotline TV.